Talking to me?
Goonies never say die!
What's in the box?
Just what do you think you're doing, Dad?
Hey everybody, welcome to the new season of Big Bang Cinema, the 2020 edition. My name is Isaac. I got a new members only jacket, but I'm not wearing it. Anderson.
I'm Tyler, 2019 sucked Keen.
And this is a movie show where we talk about movie news.
Movie reviews.
And every single thing in between. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. We really do appreciate it. We got a lot of cool topics up for you today. But first off, Tyler, how was your break, man?
It was boring. I worked a lot.
Same, buddy. We both work in industries that kind of require us to kind of keep on this. But thankfully, I get to be around movies mostly for my work and everything. So
I was around a lot of elderly who complained a lot.
well, that's the theaters too during the holiday season. But speaking about being elderly and complaining a lot, Guns Akimbo has finally got a release date. And it's finally coming out. Supposedly, maybe and not, maybe so. But, Tyler, you know what Guns Akimbo is?
Guns Akimbo. He was that martial artist who died, had a heart attack.
That would be a big old...
I'm thinking about Kimbo Slice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Kimbo Slice did die, didn't he?
Yeah, heart attack.
Oh, yeah, goodness. Isn't it weird how, like, when you do tons of steroids and drugs, it, like, kills you like that?
What I heard was he was so angry that he died from being angry.
Sure he did. Just like Padme died of a broken heart.
Oh.
But anyway, Guns Akimbo. Guns Akimbo is a movie that was filmed about 3 or 4 years ago and essentially follows Daniel Radcliffe in this like battle royale situation.
That sounds so nice. It's about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
It's been sitting on the shelf for 4
Well,
years.
this is not the only one we have that has this, but Guns Akimbo was filmed a couple years back, and it's supposed to Daniel Radcliffe's trying to get himself out of the situation, but he has guns sewn to his hand, and Samara Weaving's in it too. She's in a lot of stuff now. She's going to be like the new thing, I guess. But this is a movie directed and written by a guy named Jason Lee Howard, which I'm not too familiar with his other work. He's not really done any big Hollywood movies, and apparently he's had a hard time trying to get this one out. But Tyler, do you know a whole lot about like the history of this, like and everything, like why it's taken so long to get out?
If it takes so long to get out, that means that production distributors don't want to touch it.
Yeah, I don't know why, because we've seen this in like, there's been the meme photo of Daniel Radcliffe with the guns in his hands and everything.
Harry Potter 2020.
Yeah, Harry Potter 2020, it's got like, he looks all crazy and everything. But I haven't heard a whole lot about the movie in and of itself, and there's not even a trailer out for us to look at. I mean, it's just like, it's this photo that I'm referring to right now of him with like the guns to his hand.
How awesome would it be that wasn't Phil? That was just Daniel Radcliffe's average day in England.
Yeah, I mean, he would most certainly get arrested.
Yeah.
But
Harry Potter's got a gun. Dun, dun. Whole world's come undone.
Now he's got a cricket bat.
What made Daniel snap? Was he fed up with Snape's crap?
This is a great song.
Yeah.
This is a fantastic song. Welcome back to 2020, guys. But yeah, Tyler, are you interested in seeing this movie now that you hear a little bit more about it?
Not really.
Okay. Why? I mean, I'm interested to see it just because it's gone through so much turmoil, but like, are you not interested to see it at all?
It sounds like Crank.
Crank? It's a little bit like Crank. Crank is fun in a schlocky way, though. Maybe this is meant to be fun in a schlocky way. You think so? I like Daniel Radcliffe as an actor, so I'll give him that credit, but we'll see how this goes. Daniel Radcliffe, I'm glad you got paid, I think. Maybe so. I wasn't there. But speaking about you got paid for a job, Timothée Chalamet has been cast as Bob Dylan in a biopic that's upcoming, directed by James Mangold.
What's it going to be called? Times Are Changing, or?
That's actually probably the name they're going to go to. Times Are Changing, or something like that, all along the Watchtower or something. You know.
Possibly.
Possibly. Well, as you know, we can't have any original ideas. It's 2020. Pretty much everything has been done, and we could see, just like 2020 vision, how clear it is that we are out of ideas.
Which brings up in the story, Bob Dylan was at Appalachian State back in the 80s. My uncle went to go see him, and he said he come on stage late, and he sat in a little chair, and he threw up everywhere, and they took him off the stage, and they gave everybody's money back.
Really? Is that real?
Yeah, he said he played about 2 chords and he threw up everywhere.
That's why I say that.
Yeah, said he was so wasted.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought he like had a big change during like the 70s, or like it was like might have been the late 60s. Like he tried to like turn his life around and everything.
He got so wasted he threw up all over stage, all over his guitar and everything, and they pulled him off stage and gave everybody's money back.
That doesn't surprise me.
He was on stage, but Uncle said he was on stage less than 5 seconons.
Sounds like a Kanye West concert when he gets mad.
Yeah.
But he doesn't give people refunds. You paid to see that. But Timothy Chalamet being cast as him, what do you think?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the resemblance on this guy.
You know what he looks like to me?
What's he look like?
Adam Sandler back in the day.
I don't think so. He's a little bit too much of a pretty boy to be Adam Sandler.
Oh, no, I'm talking about Bob Dylan.
Yeah, he's got that kind of like the Jewish kind of like curly hair kind of thing going on.
Yeah, it reminds me of Adam Sandler back in the day.
Back in the day.
But like Cosby Show back in the day.
Yeah, let's not mention Bill Cosby. That's just
Oh.
not a great way to start off 2020 talking about that guy. But
He's the best guy in Philadelphia to have a drink with.
I'd rather not. He's one that you just don't consume anything around. But Mr. James Mangold's directing this, and obviously you don't know who James Mangold is. He directed movies like Logan and Ford versus Ferrari. Pretty big acclaimed director right now. He's got a lot of great things under his belt. What do you think about like the casting and the? We already talked about the casting, but what do you think about the filmmaker involved?
It'll probably be really good if he makes it.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's such a quality director. I like his focus on character and his focus on story and pacing.
I mean, that's what a biopic is focused on the character.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, he's very good at characterization. I mean, the Ford vs. Ferrari was a really good character piece. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm interested to see it. And also, Timothy Chalamet's a great actor. He's in everything now. I thought he was really great in Call Me By Your Name. I thought he was really good in Lady Bird. Heard he's really good in Little Women. Haven't got to see it yet. But yeah, I think they're on the right track to having something that's at least interesting, and hopefully will follow up. Any final thoughts on this, Tyler?
I'll probably end up seeing it.
Heard. Well, see, what was that?
HBO or something, or Cinemax.
Well, speaking about HBO or Cinemax, the New Mutants has finally got a new trailer. We got to celebrate this, guys. And we're only celebrating this because this is the first trailer for this movie in 3 years.
It's been sitting on the shelf almost as long as Guns Akimbo.
Oh, so sad. So sad. Well, in case you don't know what the New Mutants is, it's a movie about mutants that are new.
And it's the de facto last Fox X-Men movie.
Supposedly, but totally factual. But
Yeah.
I think this is, so in case you don't know the history of this, The New Mutants was a movie that was filmed also many, many years ago. They came out with a trailer for it. They put it on the shelf and they said they were going to reshoot it to BR because it was a PG-13 movie. They said, we're going to reshoot it to BR, then we're going to release it. Then Fox got bought up by Disney. And then it was like, well, we don't want to release this because this doesn't match with our roster. But you already filmed it, and like, what do we do with this now? Like, we can't just like, well, I guess we can just put it on the shelf and never release it.
They could have red boxed it.
They could have directed Netflix. They could have done a direct to Netflix.
Or they could just post it on their Disney Plus.
That is true. They could have posted it on Disney Plus. They could have done something, but they didn't know what to do with it. And some people said, "Oh, it's because the movie sucks," or it's because they're not confident in the movie. Or
I mean, even Fox was supposed to be released before Dark Phoenix even come out. I heard it's supposed to be released before the merger even happened.
Yeah, the first trailer came out in, I think, August of 2017. So it's been nearly 3 years now. And the cast in this is really nice. The main actress, I really like her stuff. Anna Taylor-Joy's in it too. Charlie, whatever his name is from Stranger Things, is in it too. The guy that got busted at the airport.
Cocaine.
Yeah, well, allegedly.
Allegedly.
But factually.
Allegedly, factually.
Yeah, due to his own admission.
Yeah.
It's just like Carrie Fisher allegedly did, drugs according to her own story that she said in her own book. But
She allegedly said
allegedly.
she
We're all doing
did
allegedly
KK.
right now. But Josh Boone is the director of this. You know who Josh Boone is?
Josh Boone. I went to school with a guy named Josh Boone.
Well, that's not who this guy is, unless he took a vastly different path in his life. But this is the guy that made The Fault in Our Stars.
Oh no! Kill this with fire. Destroy this movie. Never release it.
Hey, look. The way I look at it, everybody needs a paycheck.
I hated The Fault in Our fault. Say it.
The Fault in Our
Stars. The Fault in the Stars. I hated the Stars movie.
Well, that movie spawned a lot of different copycats, like the one about like people couldn't touch each other because they were like had ALS or something.
Although they had like what was
It was like a nerve disease.
Oh, I thought they had like the thing with like, the stuff that Monk did, to where you can't touch stuff because it.
They didn't have MC Hammer disease.
MC Hammer disease. No, what's that called?
Yeah, because song.
Obsessive compulsive disorder.
That's just called a scam by the drug industry. But
Oh,
yeah, any final thoughts on this?
I really I don't want to see it.
Is it because Josh Boone is the director?
Josh Boone, because I hated that movie.
Did you actually watch Fault in Our
I had to
Stars?
sit through it. It was horrid.
Were you with the lady?
Yes, and it was bad. That movie, I was pointing just like I'm done. I'm like
I heard the novel's good.
I'm like, find your own way home. I'm leaving.
Goodness, that's usually what women say to me. But it's kind of weird that the tables have been turned, or as Michael Scott says, the turn's tabled. But guys,
Turns table.
thank you. That's going to do it for our movie news. But time for a new version of, well, actually, I wouldn't say new version. It's time for a new edition to Big Bang Cinema. And this is going to be called our Isaac and Tyler's Take. We haven't really come up with a name quite yet. I went Isaac and Tyler's Take on this, but it can be Big Bang Cinema Hot Take, whatever you want. Leave a comment. Tell us what you should call this.
And we have less than a minute to make rhyming words that describe the movie we just saw.
No, we'll save that for another time.
Oh,
We'll
that's not
save-
what we're
It's a
doing.
good idea. But this time we're actually talking about a little independent movie called Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, which we've been, in case you don't know, the college has been closed for 2 weeks. We haven't got to talk about it together as a group.
All I can really say is that Disney had a press release talking about it, and they said it is the worst Star Wars movie so far.
Did they say that?
It's the worst so far.
So far, like
So
you
far.
haven't seen nothing yet.
You ain't seen nothing. Yeah, y'all.
Wait till
y'all
you see
buckle-
what we come up with next. You know.
We're gonna cross it over with the Gremlins.
Oh goodness, we're gonna make a prequel.
A prequel.
Well, actually,
prequel.
they have talked about doing
It's
that.
gonna be
actually.
about. It's gonna have Critters 5 and the Star Wars is gonna be together.
Yeah, and we're going to try to combine this with the Mutants on the New Mutants and everything. That's why it took so long to film, because they had to wait till episode 9 was filmed.
And we're going. Zack Snyder's no longer employed at WB. He's gonna make this next film.
What is Zack Snyder doing now? Is he like operating a toll booth?
He's making the next Star Wars movie. That's what he's doing now.
Like real quick before we
He's-
get into this,
he's
how will
making-
a Zack Snyder Star Wars movie be?
It will be gloriously bad.
If the answer is sucky, you are correct.
Gloriously bad.
But it would be like the camera would be in focus and it would like have something lit, and then everybody
See-
would be like, it's amazing looking.
You know how there was almost a storyline, almost a plot for this film.
And it like everyone's treating it so
That would be
seriously, so
done.
it's totally good. But
It'll,
anyway,
it'll be just a series.
we
of
got to talk about
events.
the movie.
All right, yeah.
We got to talk about the movie because we get caught up talking about everything else. Okay, so yeah. So what did you think about this movie, Tyler?
I gotta say, it was probably the worst Star Wars movie I'd seen.
Are you sure about that?
Okay, the prequels were bad, but the prequels still felt kind of original, like an original story. This felt like this was a Frankenstein of everything. They just mashed it together.
This is kind of like someone like all the things in Star Wars were eaten by somebody and thrown up, and then furiously mopped together in a pile and put it on the screen. I think is the best way to describe this. Hey, remember those guys? Me neither. Yeah, those guys are just there to like. By the way, this is going to be spoilers for Rise of Skywalker. If you haven't seen the movie by now, you're probably not going to. So no need to put a spoiler warning up or anything like that.
Don't
You should
watch
just
it.
know there's spoilers for this in case you're watching. So yeah, those Knights of Ren are just there to get killed.
I remember they had a big build up after two movies, and then it was just like their fodder.
Yeah, I mean it's just they are literally just there so Kylo Ren can like stab them.
Yeah.
Like what a waste! What a waste!
But I can see where Ryan Johnson kind of wrote them into a hole.
Oh, well, Ryan Johnson, that's the big thing. Everybody's talking about The Last Jedi and how it didn't really leave anything for where it could go. He essentially made a movie that was a dead end. And all these things, like, in case you don't know what J.J. Abrams' philosophy on making movies is, it's
The box.
It's the mystery box. It's basically where they... he sets things up. He makes like, well, who is this guy, and not discovering where, like, not planning out where he's going to go or where he's been, and letting the future filmmakers fill that in, because they can be anything. You know, how is he related to this guy? And you can make all these different story things, and the mystery is what makes movies good. And granted, that's an element of it, but I don't think it's everything. And Ryan Johnson saw all those mystery boxes that he set up, like who is Snoke? who is Rey? Where did Rey come from? What has Luke been doing? You know?
And he was just like, let's never open the box.
Yeah, I mean, he's really good at that. He's like, we never look inside the box. It's just a box.
Yeah.
You know, but you have to show us what's in the box and make sense of the box. But Ryan Johnson saw that box as like, well, that box is stupid. We're just going to say that box didn't matter. And so now you have nothing to go off from. And this movie is trying to do everything the second movie should have done in retrospect, and try to do it because you no longer have a main villain that is actually like of any sort of threat. You know, I like Kylo Ren as a character, but he's lost too many times. You can't really have him as a main character, so they brought back Palpatine.
And he's unrelatable.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's irredeemable as far as like a movie-wise goes, but like he's been beat like 3 times.
Well, I mean, he's unrelatable.
He's unrelatable. Well, I mean, sort of, but he's a great actor to begin with. But the biggest problem with this movie for me was the pacing. The pacing was just too fast, too much, too soon, too much.
And poor writing.
The writing definitely doesn't help. The writing feels like the guy that wrote Batman v Superman wrote.
I believe they introduced a new character, and then within 5 minutes they resolved the character's problem, and then she ends up getting a magical coin.
Yeah, and then
within 5 minutes, like within a major character, but bam, 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 it's over.
And there's a character like that we've been with for a long time that dies. And then immediately 5 minutes later, he's alive again.
And how it's revealed is like, oh, he's here. Let's bring him. How did he survive? Yeah. There were 2, and they immediately explained it, like they told you how he survived without actually showing it.
Yeah. Well, what did you think about Palpatine in this movie?
I thought that was probably one of the biggest missteps I've ever seen in Star Wars.
It was quite stupid.
It kind of goes back with the original trilogy and kind of. It excrements all over them because it's kind of like you've got Vader.
His sacrifice was for nothing.
It meant nothing, and I'm just like, you know, and they could have done so much. It could have been his ghost trying to come back. I mean, that right there, bam, better story than trying to revive Palpatine.
Or this is a really foreign and odd concept.
Not have him in the movie.
A villain that was set up over 3 movies, or maybe this is a stretch. A new villain?
And I kid you not, I'll say within 2 minutes, their main villain, I created him, and it shows him floating around in some tubes. I'm like...
Yeah, there's like multiple of him. He literally he has a can full of Snokes.
And I'm just like, that just kind of...
So stupid.
So it's dumb.
And like the ending's basically like kind of the Last Jedi thing, like strike me down, you'll become more powerful, look at your friends, they are going to die, fulfill your destiny. And then they fight, and he is easily killed. Like with no problem because she is all of the Jedi.
She Mary sues him to death. That's pretty much what happens.
Yeah, she doesn't struggle almost. I mean, granted, like spoiler for Rise of Skywalker, she dies at the end, but then she's immediately brought back, so you don't feel anything.
Oh, okay, she dies, and then like within less than a minute, Kylo Ren kisses her, brings her back to life, and then he dies. And then I'm just here's the whole kicker. The whole part of this whole movie is she can heal people and like bring them like pretty much like heal all injury. And I'm thinking how all the other films this could have been really handy.
Well, that was never the point of the story, but like, you know, granted that is like, why haven't Jedi's done this before? Is kind of the question.
It's like I said, it was really dumb.
Yeah. Overall, this is a big waste of potential and a big waste of our time.
I believe that there was like a 5-10 minute scene with them inside of a snake hole.
Yeah, it is literally just
and it
to
goes
establish.
Nowhere.
Well, they do get the magic MacGuffin at that one part.
Oh yeah, the whole. We're talking about the film itself. The film about finding a MacGuffin that finds the MacGuffin that finds the MacGuffin.
It's literally the laziest way to get conflict in your story.
It is.
And I mean, it's almost like the guy that like did the Justice League movie wrote this movie.
Spoiler alert! Right now, they had to find a magical Sith dagger that leads them to that. For some reason, it leads them to the crashed Death Star.
It's an ancient Sith dagger that happens to have 40-year-old wreckage coordinates on it.
I had to find it. They're like, how did that happen? The Force! Because of the Force!
The Force is just a way
the
of
Force.
Like, it's just gotta happen.
It's like movie magic, the Force. And then, so it leads them there to find a pyramid that's supposed to lead them to the planet to find Palpatine. And they fail because it gets destroyed. And I think she fights Kylo Ren, and then Harrison Ford tells him, do the right thing, son. And she takes his spacecraft and she leaves a trail for people to get to. And here's the whole kicker. That trail, the MacGuffin leads. Everybody in the universe shows up to fight these spaceships. Palpatine uses his magic, and he creates a whole legion of Star Destroyers that have Death Star cannons.
That is, now that I think about it, this is
Oh,
incredibly.
it's so stupid.
It's so incredibly.
Oh my gosh!
And he willed those into existence,
He
Tyler.
just goes like this, and they just come up out of nowhere.
There's like 100,000 of them, and they all have crews. And
And I'm thinking, like, how did these people get there to pilot the ships? Did he create those people too, or like did they all have little magical MacGuffin boxes?
And
The
that's right, everybody in the universe gets there, but they didn't have the holocron.
Really
Don't you have to have a holocron to get there?
to get to the planet? Were they bred on this planet? And the second question is, everybody in the universe shows up with their spacecrafts and fights these people that are piloting the ships. And I'm kind of thinking, like, if that's everybody in the universe, how many people are piloting these ships?
Okay, we can literally go all day about this.
It is This movie was baffling.
I know.
It hurts my brain hurting about it.
You didn't like this movie.
It leaves more questions than it actually answered.
I know.
And not serious questions, like plot hole questions.
We opened a few mystery boxes and left like 57 more. It feels like I'm watching Lost again. But guys, do you feel lost in life? Well, we can't help you out with that. But you can leave a comment at facebook.com/studio67ncc. We'd love to hear what you guys have to say about this.
Oh my
It
gosh.
really is stupid the more you think about it. We can't get too far down the rabbit hole because we've got too much to go on. But thank you guys so much for watching so far. We're going to be really quick. We're going to take a really quick break. Let Tyler compose himself. We'll be right back, guys. Stay with us.
When it comes to culinary arts, Nash Community College is here to turn your burning passion for food into a career. Our chefs, with over 70 years of highly qualified industry experience, are here to point you in the right direction, teaching and handing down classical culinary techniques that will improve your skills and help you cut your way into the food industry. Gain invaluable experience, vital to cooking and preparing delicious food, served in a personal and creative environment. To learn more about the Culinary Arts program, visit nashcc.edu.
We're still talking about Rise of Skywalker.
I got a cousin who's got learning disabilities. He could have wrote a better story than this.
Well, that's your opinion, but probably right. But guys, welcome back to Big Bang Cinema. My name is Isaac, all the Jedi Anderson.
I am Tyler. I am all the Sith Keen.
And goodness, if you're watching this like right now, like pre-recorded, I highly recommend that you go back. Not saying you have to, but if you like to see something funny, it's something fun to watch. But anyway, guys, it's been a year. We nearly went to war at the beginning of this year, and last year we went to war with cinema, in the sense that most of them sucked. Cinema, just in general, makes me want to climb in my bed and go to sleep and just think about all the other movies that could have been great and never have been great. Great.
Wasted potential.
Yeah, wasted potential. So, guys, we thought we might mention some of the worst movies of 2019. And granted, there was a lot of them. I just picked, it's really hard to think of them because we have seen so many this year. And granted, Rise of Skywalker was pretty bad, but it's far from like an incompetent film. Like, some of the effects are pretty well done. The camera's in focus, you know what I mean? It's really sad that that's the bar now.
It's baffling.
It's really disappointing and like really convoluted and a mess. But there's been some movies this year that have just been flat out bad movies. And I enjoyed watching these bad movies in a way. At least they're interesting in some regard. But we thought we might talk about them real quick. I'm going to go ahead and go first. Tyler, what is the first thing that comes to mind when I think Sylvester Stallone and menopause?
The Escape Plan.
That's one thing, but I also think Rambo Last Blood.
Oh, Rambo Last Blood, yes. Oh, man, that was...
Rambo, imagine an elderly man that can barely speak and like kind of, he can't get around as good as he used to. Try to make a movie with his GoPro. That's what Rambo Last Blood is. Rambo Last Blood, when I saw it, I thought it was just it's kind of a forgettable action movie. But And if you've ever watched Rambo, you kind of know what to expect in this one. This one is just like the laziest garbage. I mean, it's like nothing happens for like an hour and 45 minutes, and the last 15 minutes is just complete schlock with terrible looking CGI, and it looks like it was filmed in like a cheap camcorder. I don't understand it. And Sylvester Stallone's so mumbly in this movie. Like, right, he's mumbling in all these other movies. I didn't think he was speaking. He needed subtitles in this movie. He was like,
This part, my favorite part was he speaking Spanish.
like the people
had
that spoke
subtitles.
Spanish spoke better English than him. You know?
It really gets me. He's speaking Spanish, and they actually had subtitles for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you need subtitles with Sylvester Stallone, but this movie is a January level movie that came out in July. This movie feels like it's like Bad Boys for Life. You know what I mean? It feels like garbage that's coming out. But I don't know. It was extremely disappointing in a way that, like, you know, a lot of the Rambo movies are good. And granted, it didn't pay tribute to the Mujahideen fighters, so that's a big no for me. Because, you know, that's the only way to end a Rambo movie. But yeah, big disappointment. Not a great movie. It's kind of unintentionally hilarious at some point, but most of it's just the worst kind of bad movie. It's boring.
You're right. The second one, no, the third one, they did talk about the.
They said this movie is dedicated to the Mujahideen fighters, which is funny because that's what they put at the end of Cats.
Wait, aren't they Taliban now?
Yes, that's the whole point.
That's the whole.
They dedicated because some guy was like, "I'm being progressive by talking about all these independent fighters." Oh, they caused one of the biggest terrorist attacks of all time. Never mind. And now they say
that movie did not age well.
Yeah, no, it didn't. But speaking about not aging well, what is one of your choices for the worst movie of this year?
Oh, I would have to say X-Men.
Okay, so
The Dark Phoenix.
The Dark Phoenix. So we both reviewed this movie.
My biggest issue with it was you had some of the films that were probably some of the best films in the entire genre of itself. You had Days of Future Past, you had First Class, you had X-Men 1 and 2, you had Logan, and then you had this come out, and it was just like no effort whatsoever was put in this film.
Yeah. Okay. And you're very right, and it's very like slapped together. It's very kind of like Simon Kinberg, the guy that wrote The Last Stand, wrote that movie. What were you going to expect?
I think he directed it.
He directed it, yeah.
Because they said that they couldn't get a director. The director walked out, and they're like, "You're going to direct."
We can't
it.
get Brett Ratner again.
And,
he's a pervert, you know.
And this is his first movie he ever directed.
Yeah. It shows.
And yeah, it really does. Yeah, and he got stuck with this. He said he didn't want to direct it.
Dang. Well, I mean, he did about as good of a job as anybody could that had never done this kind of thing before. Granted, big waste of potential. We got to get to the last one because we're running out of time. Because we laughed about Star Wars for a little bit too long. But Tyler, on the count of three, why don't we say the worst movie of 2019? You ready? 1, 2, 3. Cats. I think anybody that has been on the internet knows what this movie is.
Or has eyeballs.
Now, Tyler, you never saw this movie, did you?
I saw a little bit of it.
Okay, do you see what's behind me right now?
That is Taylor Swift.
Now, this looks like something that like a fan did on Reddit, correct?
Absolutely.
Now, let me zoom in. This is a real thing that happened and was released to theaters. Look at that.
Ugh.
Just look at that. A human face crappily CGI'd onto a terrible-looking cat head. And the whole movie's like that. It's like the faces float around. It was so bad that theaters had to get new versions of the films shipped to them because they tried to fix the special effects. Like, it's the equivalent of your car engine being busted and saying, "I got new rims." You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter.
Or it's like getting a video game that doesn't work. You got to wait for the update to come out.
Yeah, and it's like the new DLC. The game's not finished yet. The movie's not finished yet, and they released it. But this movie is like it's fun to watch with the crowd that kind of knows what's up, like if they're watching it ironically. I watched it in what was called a rowdy screening, where people could like yell at the screen and laugh, but unfortunately my theater was kind of like, "Oh my goodness, look at the beautiful musical cats, what a beautiful thing that's going on right now."
Oh, you didn't have the whole room crowd.
I didn't have the whole room crowd, but that is one of the most baffling decisions a studio ever made in the last few years. But guys, we got to end up real quick. Any final thoughts?
Well, I was about to say it's hilarious because somebody had to go through a whole board meeting and pitch this to show how it was a great idea.
And they haven't had the discussion like, should we actually put cat hands on Judi Dench or should we just leave them?
I don't know. Don't her character's trans. You can't make fun of that character.
That is true. I'm very sorry. I want to be inclusive. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Next week we're going to be reviewing 1917. Really excited about that. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much. We got a really cool season this year. Leave a comment, facebook.com/studio67ncc. Let us know what you want to see this year.
A whole bunch of guest stars too.
Yes, we got a whole lot of guest stars. Yeah, a lot of cool people. We'll discuss afterwards too because I haven't told you about some of them. But guys, thank you so much. I'm Isaac, all the Jedi Anderson.
I'm Tyler King.
And I will see you next week. Stay lovely. Have a good week.